Robert Buck is the founder and managing director of Diamond IT. Having studied computer engineering and working as a computer technician, Rob started Diamond IT from his parents' granny flat in his early 20s. From these humble beginnings, he has built an award-winning business that has recently celebrated 20 years. Rob has an MBA with merit and is a graduate of the Australian Institute of Company Directors. It's important to Rob to give back into the community, and Diamond IT supports numerous organisations and causes. Recently, he was appointed to the board of directors of the Samaritans Foundation. Welcome, Robert. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
If you could tell us a little bit about your career path to begin.
I think I've always had a passion for both business and technology. I remember the first time I ever saw a computer, which is probably a bit longer ago than I'd like to care to admit, but it was frankly in the days of typewriters, and I remember them showing us how if you made a mistake you could just correct it and reprint it, and I just remember thinking that was absolutely incredible. I think it's just sort of planted a seed of passion for me that's always been there for technology. And business as well. At school I started a couple of really, if there's something smaller than micro business, that was it. Sort of selling toffee around the streets as well as some lawn mowing stuff as well. In terms of my first real job, that was at a computer retailer, and I worked there as both a salesperson as well as a technician. And it was a great grounding for me because in Diamond IT we have those two teams, and they can see the world a little bit differently from time to time, as you can imagine. But yeah, it gives me a good empathy and understanding for the way they're both addressing something. So this year I actually had Samaritans reach out to me and ask me to become a director, and that's been a great experience for me. Certainly, of course, I've got a lot of respect for what they do in the community, but also it's just as a business person a really different slant to be at that arm's length as a non-executive director, as well as just being in a different sector and seeing firsthand what they do in the community. It really is incredible and very heartwarming. So that's been an amazing experience. But certainly most of it has been as managing director of Diamond IT. And I've seen, obviously you can imagine over the last 20 years, a lot of change in technology, but also people's acceptance of technology. So, I mean, certainly early days for us, if you used a computer, you were a geek, and if you used a mobile phone, they had other words for that. Whereas now, everyone just embraces technology. If there's a new iPhone, people line up all around the world at midnight to get it. So I've seen a lot of change, and it's been a great experience.
What do you think are the key skill sets leaders need?
I think leadership's like most parts of business. I think there's a lot of quite simple concepts. It's just a matter of managing to achieve as many as you possibly can. I think the key things with leadership are vision, communication, and then buy-in. So vision, I think, goes without saying. It's really difficult to get anyone to follow you anywhere unless we don't know where we're going. From a communication point of view, I think the key things there are clarity and consistency. So obviously being clear with your communication, but also consistent. If you just fire off an email, you can't expect the whole organisation to just change what they're doing. So you've got to be consistent with communication. In terms of buy-in, I think I've always been pretty inclusive when I'm looking at decision making. And what I've found is that when we engage staff on how to address an issue or something we want to improve, I've always found that really it's surprising to me how in sync they are with what management are thinking about the same issue, and sometimes they have some great ideas that we haven't thought of as well. And obviously buy-in's always going to be a lot easier when the people come up with the ideas themselves. But I think at the end of the day, leadership's about setting an objective and getting people to buy in and want to help you achieve it.
Rob, what is one action or task you incorporate into your diary each week?
For me, it's exercise. There's plenty of things I incorporate into my diary every week, but exercise is the one thing I really try to make habit. So I get up at 5:30 every day and try to do something active. And the strange thing for me is that I actually really enjoy exercise, but I find that if I get out of the habit, for some reason it becomes a bit of a chore, and I think my energy gets a little bit down, and I find it difficult to get motivated to get back into. So I really like to do it on a regular basis. But what I really find is I'm a lot more productive when I do exercise. And even just little aches and pains you tend to get with sitting down for a long period of time, like neck and back pain, I find it really helps if you do the right exercise. So really exercise is my key to productivity and also a bit of stress relief as well.
What do you think is unique about doing business in the Hunter?
Well, firstly, I just want to say I love living in the Hunter. My family's from the Blue Mountains, and we came here when I was 10 years old, and I've loved it ever since. For me, what's unique, I think it's big and small at the same time. So in some ways it's the engine room of New South Wales economy, but it's also a small community. So it's very important to have a good reputation, and also relationships are really important as well. So I remember when we first set up our Sydney office, one of the customers down there said they really enjoy working with Newcastle businesses, and this was their perspective. They said there's so many customers in Sydney that they really felt like Newcastle businesses kind of had a bit more of a value on relationships. So I think that's the key, is your reputation is going to follow you everywhere, so you've got to do a great job. But overall, it's just a great place to do business.
And to finish today, Rob, what local business person do you find inspiring?
For me, it's Leah J from Leah J Property Management. So we've done business with Leah for about 20 years, and over the years I've just developed a lot of respect for her. And it's because she just does things the right way. And she's worked really hard, she respects her staff, she's very focused on her customers. And yeah, she's just a pleasure to do business with, frankly. So for someone with such a level of success, I really respect how humble she is as well. And in addition to that, of course, she's climbed Everest. I mean, this is the pinnacle of any achievement. Not just climbed it, but actually recognised inside the international business community. So I do have a lot of respect for her. And I've suggested to her she should write a book one day about her life, and I hope she does.
Excellent. What a great note to finish on. Thank you so much for your time today, Rob.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.